Hi everyone! Today we're diving into our predictions for the upcoming GCSE Weimar and Nazi Germany exam. We will be breaking down what's most likely to come up and how you can do well for it. Before we move on, let me share something that would be really critical for you: content summary and top grade models answers written by our teachers. You can find a whole range of these resources at kingsbridgeeducation.co.uk. You can also find the link below. Now let's break down how we actually make these predictions. Here's how it works. First, we look at frequency. We look at how often certain syllabus points have come up in the past. If something's been tested a lot, it might be less likely to appear again, or it could be a recurring favourite. Then we look at recency. We also check how recently a topic appeared. If it came up just last year, it's less likely to show up again immediately. Finally, we look at notable gaps. We scan for gaps in key parts of the syllabus that haven't been tested in a while. All three help us build a smart, evidence-based predictions. Now that you know how we build them, let's look at the recent papers because what's just come up is less likely to come up again. In 2024, the main focus of the paper was on the instability of the early Weimar Republic, 1919 to 23, and Nazi methods of control, 1933 to 39, like the police state and propaganda. Then, in 2023, the spotlight was on how the Nazi Party reorganised itself in the mid-1920s and cultural changes during the Weimar Golden Years, 1924 to 1929. And finally, in 2022, the major themes were Nazi propaganda's role in controlling attitudes and why Hitler became Chancellor in 1933. Because these areas have been covered in depth so recently, it's less likely, though never impossible, to be the focus of the big questions this year. So what topics do we think will come out? Life in Nazi Germany. This is the big one. This whole section seems overdue for a major focus. What you want to focus on is, first, Nazi policies towards women. Think about what did the Nazis want from women? How did their policies on family, work and appearance affect women's lives? Second, focus on employment and living standards. How did the Nazis tackle unemployment? Consider, for example, labour service. Did life actually get better for ordinary German workers? Consider strength through joy or the beauty of labour. Third, focus on Nazi policies towards the young. We've had small questions on the Hitler Youth, but not a deep dive into Nazi aims for young people, the Hitler Youth Kampf League of German maidens, and control through schools and teachers. Finally, the persecution of minorities is also long overdue. Beyond a small question on Kristallnacht years ago, the wider story of Nazi racial ideas and the escalating persecution of Jewish people, boycotts, Nuremberg laws and other groups, Roma, Sinti, Slavs, homosexuals, disabled people, hasn't been a main exam theme. Another topic we'd like you to focus on is the growth in Nazi support from 1929 to 1932. This crucial period, when the Great Depression hit and Nazi support rocketed, hasn't been the central topic of a big question recently. Why did people turn to the Nazis then? Think about Hitler's appeal, propaganda, the SA, and the weaknesses of Weimar democracy during the crisis. You really should also consider this topic: the creation of the dictatorship from 1933 to 1934. Focus on this. How did Hitler actually cement his power so quickly after becoming Chancellor? You should also concentrate on the key steps like the Reichstag fire, the Enabling Act, banning opponents, the Night of the Long Knives, and Hitler becoming Führer. These haven't been explored in a major question. We'd also suggest you look into opposition to the Nazis. While support for the Nazis was looked at back in 2020, the other side, who opposed Hitler, like some church figures or youth groups, how they did it and how effective they were, hasn't been the main focus in the exams. It could prove beneficial to focus on this. Overall, our top bets are employment and living standards under the Nazis and Nazi policies towards women. These are major parts of key topic 4 that have been overlooked for years in the main questions. They offer lots of scope for both explain why questions and sort interpretation analysis. We also believe that there are strong contenders as well. These are the growth in Nazi support, the creation of the dictatorship, persecution of minorities, and opposition to the Nazis. These are also significant gaps in recent exam coverage and are fundamental to understanding the period. Let's finish with the golden rules, the non-negotiables if you're aiming for top marks in GCSE History. First, cover everything if you can. Predictions are helpful, but don't rely on them alone. Second, know your question types inside out. It's not just what you know, it's how you apply it. And third, study real answers. This is where most students go wrong. They revise the content, but they never see what a top grade answer actually looks like. That's exactly why the resources at Kingsbridge are so valuable. They break down top answers for you. Good luck.